No, he'll be happy to do it. I call to order the September 22nd, 2014 regular meeting of the Cincinnati Board of Education. We welcome everyone and request everyone in the audience please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Witt, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Bates.
Present.
Mrs. Copeland-Dansby.
I'm present.
Mrs. Hoffman. Here. Mr. Coons.
Here.
Mr. Manera.
Here.
Mr. Nelms.
Here.
President Bolton.
Here. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting of September 3rd, 2014, regular meeting September 8th, 2014.
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Nelms. Is there a second?
Second.
We'll give it to Mrs. Bates. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved as presented. Mr. Coons, as chair of the Student Achievement Committee, please present the September 8th, 2014 committee meeting report.
Gladly.
Good.
Gladly. I present the meeting as written. Unfortunately, the first item on the minutes has to be postponed due to not having full attendance. I think we want to highlight, we had the Education Committee Chair of the NAACP local chapter here at our meeting last weekend. It was a good opportunity to engage a community member at a committee meeting. So I want to just give a kudos to us for being responsive to people that want to help us do our job.
Thank you. Mrs. Bates, as chair of the Finance Committee, would you please present the September 10th, 2014 committee meeting report?
Yes, we have 4 policies. Is this on? Okay. We have 4 policies that we will act upon tonight for board action, so we won't consider them within the minutes, but we'll consider them separately. For board information, I submit these minutes as printed.
Thank you. Do board members have any questions regarding the September 17th Committee of the Whole report? None. Then we need a voice vote to accept the committee reports as written. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Those 3 committee reports stand passed. I didn't get to see him. Is Mr. Asbury here? Oh, good. There you are. Okay, great. Tonight, we will begin with an awards presentation by Damon Asbury, the Director of Legislative Services for the Ohio School Boards Association. And he's going to come on down to the microphone and be very complimentary regarding Mr. Vice President Nelms, as I recall. Yeah. Well, what can I say? Welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you very much, President Bolton, and thank all of you for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you, recognizing not only Mr. Nelms' service on our Board of Trustees, but also it's a long-standing support and participation of the Cincinnati Board of Education and Public Schools with our organization, the Ohio School Boards Association. As Ms. Bolton mentioned, I'm the Director of Legislative Services, and I've, over the last, 6 or 7 months, I've seen both Board Member Bates and Board Member Bolton speaking before our legislators. And as I always tell board members around the state, that's probably the most powerful statement that a board can make, is to come to the General Assembly and express your thoughts and opinions on how legislation affects your school district. But that's another story. I'm here primarily just to again, as I say, recognize the longstanding participation of the Cincinnati schools in the Ohio School Boards Association. As you may know, we serve 99% of the school boards in Ohio. your board has been longstanding members. You are served by virtue of the size of your district as a trustee on our Board of Trustees, and we appreciate that. I have was telling one of the gentlemen in the seats back there that I came to Cincinnati in 1970 and did a North Central evaluation. I'm not sure they still do those, but any case, I've always looked at this school district as not only a model for urban education, but really as a model for a lot of school districts across the state. You do good work, I believe, in working with your community, engaging your parents, your students, and I've always thought of the district as an innovative district, and I think that's a credit in large part not only to the administration but to the board itself. So without further ado, I would like to recognize first Mr. Nelms for his service as a trustee of the Ohio School Boards Association. He is a trustee this year as well as the coming year, and so we do appreciate your service, and we want to present you with this plaque in recognition of that service.
Come into the light.
And I do accept on behalf of the board. That's why I'm somewhat embarrassed, because when I go up, I'm always of the mindset that I represent the other 6 colleagues that also serve with me on the board. And so thank you.
Well, thank you. And that certainly speaks to your understanding of being part of the team. And so I also do want to recognize the entire Board of Education for its support by allowing Mr. Nelms to spend time on OSBA business. So I'll present that to you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I want you to meet all of our folks.
Melanie.
I'll take a second handshake.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's very nice. Once again, we appreciate you coming down from Columbus, and
Thank you.
Most importantly, we wish you well, because we appreciate your leadership there, especially from a legislative standpoint, as we're deeply engaged in making sure that the new Ohio Standards Common Core remains a part of our vision and the state's vision, and we know you've been tirelessly
We've been
in
working
trying
on
to
that. We're
make sure
pleased to
that
see
happens.
the meeting next week Wednesday was canceled. So
Oh.
I don't know what that means, but there'll be
Okay.
another, I'm sure.
That
So
could-
thank you.
You have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our next presentation is one that we've all looked forward to, and it's a little different, a little new this year, but we have a great number of new principals that our superintendent is going to introduce, and we're anxious to meet them and hear from them, but we first want to hear from our superintendent.
Thank you, President Bolton. Tonight, I'm pleased to have our 6 new principals here with us tonight. They're going to tell us a little bit about themselves and then about their plans for the 14-15 school year. Now, we have them in alphabetical order, like any good teacher, by school. So the first school is Covedale School. Ted Jebbins has returned to us from Middletown. So welcome back, Mr. Jebbins.
Hey, Ted.
Good evening, and once again, my name is Ted Jebbins, and I'm glad to be back in Cincinnati Public Schools. Cincinnati Public Schools is great, and I've been with Cincinnati for 18 years. Prior, had an opportunity outside and worked there for 2 years, and an opportunity came up, and I'm glad to be back. And I'm the new principal of Covedale Elementary School, and at Covedale, we're working on a lot of things this year, a lot of great new programs and things like that. But one thing we discovered was, after talking to parents and past students, that a lot of our students struggle sometimes, or it's more of a challenge, should I say, when they go to the college prep programs at high school. They would sometimes struggle with Latin. And so we're starting a Latin program in our elementary school, more of an introduction, so that when our students get to high school, it's nothing new, and they can just move right into it and have a seamless transition. We're doing a lot of other things, and you're more than welcome to come anytime to visit Covedale. And once again, I'm very privileged and glad to be back.
Thank you. And we're glad to have you back.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Too far, because we might have questions.
That's right.
We want to hear from everybody.
Our next principal is Jeff Hall. He's principal of Frederick Douglass School, and he had been the assistant principal at Aiken last year.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Hi, before I start, I want to back up a little bit. I have over 20 years experience in the education field. I was in Dayton Public Schools for 10 years, and I was in the Trotwood-Madison School District for 10 years. And then I took a 3-year sabbatical. I started a business with my wife, and that really gave me an opportunity to see just how I was committed and how education was important to me. I actually missed the field, so I had a conversation with my wife and my children. They said, well, that's truly what you need to be doing, because, I mean, it's something that you're committed to. I saw some of my ex-students, and they actually were disappointed that I wasn't in the field and what I was leaving behind. So coming back now, I have a different view, and I'm looking at the field totally different. So I'm extremely excited to be here. Frederick Douglass, we're going to grow by leaps and bounds. What I'm most excited about now are the partnerships that we've developed. We were given the new principals were given an opportunity to work in the month of July. So I was able to meet various people in the Walnut Hills area. I was able to establish a relationship with the chief of police who has adopted our school for this upcoming school year. We've established a relationship with U.S. Bank and also with the Humana. So we have great things in store for the children, and our goal is to develop lifelong learners so they can compete globally. And I hope to see all of you sometime this year at Douglass. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for the great job you did at Aiken in its opening year. We really appreciate it in the neighborhood. And we also know when your name first came across our desks, we had strong endorsement by our treasurer of your activities. There you go. So I think you can, yes.
She's a great lady.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Thank you. And don't go too far.
Our third person is Amber Simpson. She is the new principal at Rothenburg Preparatory Academy, and she had been the assistant principal of Reese Price last year.
Hey, Amber.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
I am so excited to be the proud principal at Rothenburg Preparatory Academy. I have been with the district for 15 years. I feel like I bleed CPS. I attended Cincinnati Public Schools. And so our focus at Rothenburg, we have our beautiful rooftop garden. And so we have made that a part of our science enrichment this year. So each class has an individual plotting bed up there, and then get an opportunity to go up and plant and learn about life cycles. We also have our school-wide initiative. We have a new school motto where learning is embraced with love. So I am right now in the midst of Operation Love. We're focused on learning, observation, vision, and evaluation. It's very important as a new principal get to know the community. And so we've been working very hard to get to know our community partners. We just had a wonderful campus cleanup with Procter & Gamble this past weekend. And so I am enjoying myself as I get to know my school community. My students are wonderful, and they are working very hard to continue to reach academic goals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And when your name came across, the superintendent was pretty thrilled with your commitment to Rothenburg.
Yes, and indeed, I want to thank you. The first day of school, Mr. Nelms, Mrs. Copeland Dansby, and I, and the press descended upon your building. So thank you so much for spending 2 hours with us that first day of school. You were so gracious. We love the rooftop garden. That was really lovely.
Thank you. Very nice. And too, Amber, I've been hearing really great things from community partners about the work that you personally are doing at Rothenburg. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next principal is Jamie Souders. He's principal of Sailor Park School, and he comes to us from the Princeton School District.
Way down there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to say I am blessed to be at Sailor Park. I was born and raised on the west side of town. Actually grew up in Harrison, Ohio, so the far west is what we like to call it out there. But it's really nice to be back on that side of town. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Mr. Vale, who spent 22 years at Sailor Park. My goals are pretty simple. It's to continue some of the successes that he started, but also to add to them. We just on Saturday completed an outdoor classroom to go along with our community garden, so teachers can take classes outdoors and for science lessons right amongst the garden. Our classrooms, kind of like Rothenburg, have adopted some of our beds as well. And ultimately, one of the biggest goals that we have is, one of the areas of need is our math instruction. We know some of our students struggle when they move on to the high school, so our goal is to get them ready and prepare them for high school, and math is an area of need for us, so that's kind of what we're focusing on this year. Again, like other people have said, please, I know it's a long trek out there, but you are more than welcome to come out anytime. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
If we come out, you have to feed us lunch.
No, we used to only get ice cream. Now you're insisting he has lunch too?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
What time is lunch?
All right. Our next principal is Dr. Jonathan Brown at William Taft Elementary. He had been with us in Cincinnati, went to Maryland, and has returned from Maryland. He had been in Cincinnati.
Thank you, Madam President, Ms. Bolton, and to our superintendent, to all the board members. I greet you and thank you for this opportunity to spend some time with you very briefly. First of all, I want to thank the board and for the work that you've agreed to do with the refurbishing of William Howard Taft Elementary School. On behalf of our students and our community and our parents, we're so thankful and grateful. It is good to be home. I am a proud graduate of Cincinnati Public Schools. I graduated from Camas Woodward, located in Bond Hill when Camas was there. And so it is great to be home. We are working on transforming lives at William Howard Taft Elementary School. Our goal is very simple. Every day, every classroom, every student will receive transformational instruction that will change their lives. We're working on that through the delivery of instruction, as well as empowering our parents and building collaborative relationships with the Mount Auburn community. It was great to see Ms. Bolton there prior to the school year starting. I took her on a tour, and we invite each and every one of you to come by and see the great work that is taking place at William Howard Taft Elementary School. Thank you so much.
Thank you. To Dr. Brown's credit, I was wandering around outside on the Sunday afternoon before the opening, and he saw this very strange woman wandering around looking in as best I could, and he was there that Sunday after church getting ready for the opening. I really enjoyed the visit to the school.
All right, last but not least is Sierra Badgett. He is the new principal of Ethel Taylor Academy. Previously, he had been the assistant principal at Dater High School. And Sierra, thank you so much for the hoodies and lanyards. That's very, very nice of you.
You're welcome. Good evening. Good evening, Sierra. My name is Sierra Badgett. I am the proud principal at Ethel Taylor. Excuse my voice, but it's the allergies. My goal for the 2014-2015 school year is to improve the school climate, student academic achievement, and also increasing the parental involvement. Over the summer, I was able to get to know the community. I rented a Segway and delivered cookies in the community just to get to know everybody in the community in South Cumminsville and North Fairmount. So it's a great opportunity, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the sweatshirts.
Yes, we might be talking about sizes. I heard a few members, but they said, we know we can count on you. Thank you so much. We're glad you're there. Board comments or questions for any of our distinguished site leaders? Yes, Ms. Hoffman.
Yeah, I think school leadership is something we talk about a lot on our board because we all know that you all are the key to success in our districts, that we have lots of outstanding teachers, but even the most outstanding teachers can't reach their potential with their kids if they don't have leaders who are there to support them and have a vision for their schools that they can work towards. So thank you. Your enthusiasm is fantastic. I mean, these ideas, just having a Segway to deliver cookies and, I mean, just being there on the Sunday before school starts, everything that we can tell you love your communities, and I know your kids and their parents can feel that too. I think, Mr. Brown, you had such a strong vision for your school when you came up here, and I would love to hear from some of the other principals what your vision for your schools are.
So come on down. Yeah.
Yeah, before y'all leave, the Dream Team took a picture. Make sure y'all take one.
The vision we have at Covedale is bigger than just me. it's bigger than the staff, it's the parents. And at Covedale, we have a college prep program that starts at 4th grade through 6th grade. And our vision is, and the college prep program we have is, you have to be able to, score a certain level on tests in order to participate. And we want to have, our vision is we want to have people outside, like they do at other magnet programs, sleeping, what can they do to get in? And that's our vision, is to have, people waiting in line and calling all hours of the night, what can we do to get into Covedale? And that's one of our visions that we have.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I was hired for CPS, I heard quite a bit about Walnut Hills and the Walnut Hills High School and the Walnut Hills School. And one day I took a visit over to Walnut Hills and introduced myself to Jeff Brokamp. And I just walked the building with him, and I got a real good feeling. And then soon after, I started the program with Dr. Harper to be a principal. And my goal from that point on, I wanted to have an elementary school that would feed Walnut Hills. So what we're attempting to do at Douglas is we're not trying to interrupt instruction during the day, but in the afternoon. One of the things that stuck in my head with the conversation I had with Jeff was that it has to be rigorous. You have to teach our kids how to study and have that additional time to study. Each kid should be studying at least 2 hours in the evening in addition to what they do during the day. So I talked to my resource coordinator, and we've kind of put some things together over the summer. So we're going to kind of begin to mold our children by giving them after-school activities through our after-school program. We want to teach them foreign language. We want to teach them choir, how to play instruments, and foreign language and things like that, because they can have fun, but at the same time, we're redeveloping their minds so that they know there's additional time that you have to put into it to be successful. And we know kids that foreign language or the music or the arts, they perform higher on standardized testing. So that's a goal we're focusing on at Douglas, because we want our students to be able to compete globally, and we want to put them we want to send them to Walnut Hills or wherever they go to high school prepared for the next level.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, our new school motto is where learning is embraced with love. So we are in the midst of our vision, Operation Love, through learning, giving our children the most rich learning experiences, and also our vision, looking at what we want our children to be able to see beyond what their current circumstances may be, giving them experiences that allow them to dream and dream big, and also to evaluate, to be self-reflective, and to be able to evaluate where they are and where they would like to go. And so we are working very hard in the midst of Operation Love. It's not just about instilling in them a love of learning, but also for them to love themselves and to want more for themselves, because they have something very valuable to contribute to this world.
Amber, what I would like to hear from you, thank you, but what I would like to hear from you, the transition it took from you. You're a product of the system, and I've been knowing you for some time, and I think I always talk about the right fit. Leadership is fine. Everything rises and falls on leadership, but sometimes when we place our administrative leaders in certain schools, it also has to be a right fit, I feel. What has been your transition? Because you followed a so-called, at least in illusion or delusion, you followed a icon, so to speak.
Yes.
In Alicia Smith. So what has been your transition or your challenges?
Well, of course, change is hard for everybody. And so you are right. My predecessor is very well respected and highly regarded, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for her. And so it's been a challenge in transitioning into the leadership role, and for those who have been under her leadership to embrace a new leader. However, I can say that the staff, the community, the students have really been very open to me and very receptive. And that I appreciate. Being a change facilitator is a part of being a leader. And so I've been up to the challenge to helping to facilitate this change. And I think that it's important to make those connections and build those relationships, knowing that the relationship that they had with the previous leader was built over time. And so I know that they'll build a positive relationship with me over time as well.
Thank you.
Before you leave the lectern, the neighborhood in which, Rothenburg sits. Rothenburg is one of those many iconic buildings that we were able to preserve at great cost and great effort. And when you think in terms of School for the Creative and Performing Arts at the entrance of the gateway to what is a phenomenal rebirth of a neighborhood, and a neighborhood in transition, and hopefully a neighborhood that will be a very mixed neighborhood and not lose its identity. How do you figure Rothenburg figuring into the future development of that area of our city?
Well, I think we're in the heart of Over the Rhine. We're the only public elementary school in that Over the Rhine area. And so there's a lot of development going on in our area. Actually, the Pendleton Community Council meets in our building. So we're a part of their meetings, and we give a report on what's going on in our school. And we actually have a lot of volunteers from the neighborhood who participate in our school. And so I know that they are very hopeful for the future as development continues to happen, and more families are going to eventually move down into the Over the Rhine area because some of the housing that they're putting down there is centered toward families. So we're looking forward to the shift. We embrace where we are now, but we are looking forward to where we can go in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello again. One of our biggest visions at Saylor Park, and it's something that Saylor Park desperately needs, is we're in the second year of developing our school into a community learning center. So we feel it's very important to really develop that and nurture that and get more parent involvement in our building. We know through getting the parents in our building that that's also going to help student achievement. We're working to bring some more programs into our building. I know Leadership Scholars program is going to be coming in second semester, so that will help educate parents on how to interact more appropriately with school and how to understand some of the testing data that's out there today. But we really want to develop those community partners and get our parents into our building as much as possible, because there's not a lot in Saylor Park. We're the one of the big things that the community has going for it. So we want to get the community in and help support us, and we can support them in making Saylor Park an even better place.
Great.
Mr. Sowers, what time is lunch? No, serious. I'm not coming down to eat. I'm coming down to just access the number of students that will be coming through your.
Our lunches start at 10:45 and end at about 12:15.
Okay.
You can expect Vice President Nelms there very shortly, I'm sure.
That'll be great. Anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Badgett.
Hello again.
Hello.
Ethel Taylor, our vision is to be recognized as an effective school. So we're realigning our resources down at Ethel right now to make that vision come to present. One of the things we've done is we had a partner, UC, and right now with our third grade push, all of our third grade students have a one-on-one tutor, and they'll have a one-on-one tutor for the next 20 weeks. So just one of many things that we're looking at.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, Sierra, I just want to say, first of all, I'm proud of you. And I say that not because you're a Taft graduate, but I remember when I first met you and you was working for Cincinnati Bell, and you had a vision and a passion and a commitment to come into education, and you made it happen. And when we would have our conversations, you never lost sight of the fact that you know what you wanted to do. And then when you assumed this role, you had an even greater vision. So I think it's the right fit for you, and it's part of what we talk about in terms of bringing those that have matriculated through the system back to the system so that they can continue to lend to our kids what our kids need. And that's a real reality model of a person that you represent.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for the switch.
No problem.
Mr. Badgett, I want to echo his sentiment. I think it is great that we have a local product here leading one of our schools now, and I'm sure some of the glory does go in part to your mentor, Mr. Sipple, who's in the audience. So we want to thank you.
Sipple,
is that not Mr. Sipple?
No,
We got a
Sipple would have a
doppelganger.
bow tie.
Bow tie.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah,
I thought
he
you were
looks
a
like it,
principal
though.
at
Yeah, he
Dana
does look
High
like
School.
It's the lights.
But
Anyway.
Mr. Badgett served as a vice principal there for years, and so that was part of the tutelage. And you know, to speak to Elisa's point about creating good leaders in the school, it happens when we have mentor leaders that can allow someone to kind of thrust, and I appreciate that. So
Thank you.
yeah.
So to all your colleagues, I will get by to see you.
Yeah.
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add to what President Bolton had said when Ms. Simpson was speaking. I think it's so relevant to all of you. I know Mr. Hall out in Walnut Hills too. There's just so much redevelopment happening in our city right now, and OTR and Walnut Hills get a lot of that press. And the success of our city, we say all the time, the success of our city is so tied to the success of our schools. And if part of the city's goal is to bring more young families, especially they're focusing on those two neighborhoods right now. I mean, you all are the key to keeping those families there and welcoming them into our schools. And so having such strong leaders like you, it's just so wonderful for those neighborhoods. My husband was just at the Walnut Hills 5 Points yesterday. There is such positive buzz right now about Mr. Hall. Lots of folks very excited about your vision for the school and where you're taking it. So thank you, all of you, because again, the success of our city is tied to the success of our schools.
Great, yeah. Board Member Hoffman, I echo everything that you said, and I'm sorry I have to talk with my back towards you all, but I just want to personally also thank you for your leadership. And I also want to thank our superintendent because I think she's really identified where your expertise is and where you can give your all. The things that I know about Principal Badgett, I just think it's phenomenal for you to be at the school where you are. And then Amber, I just had such a great time in a short time span when I visited you on the first day of school. You know, and then some of the others we've met at an Aiken graduation, I think we did. And then I think on the first day or the address to the public from our superintendent. So you all are in a place where you're not only your professional background fits where you are, but also your personal passion. And so I'm looking forward to the work that you will do. And I absolutely love coming into the school buildings, and I will see you again this school year. So thank you.
Mr. Madera has a comment.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to encourage you with the following thought. Our schools, the most precious thing they have is that they are the identity of the community where they're at. You bring a vision, but the students, the family, the teachers, they bring traits, they bring values, they bring part of the leadership. Mm-hmm. Don't lose that. Don't try to be like another school. Don't try to be like another community. You are in the community where God has placed you, where the administrations have thought that your skills and your leadership is going to not only take the students to higher standards, but also bring the community to a much better place. Embrace that. Embrace that to the fullest. The diversity that exists in this district is because all of our schools are different. And that is something we need to cherish. So I challenge you to continue to work in your vision, but embrace the fact that your community is the best quality you can have.
Thank you. Any other comments?
On that note, I would like for each one of you to just come by and introduce yourself personally so we could just seal the deal. Do you mind coming
Inside the
around?
horseshoe. Chris is here, but I don't think she has a camera. No. Of course not. Hi.
I'll be down to see you, man. Welcome back.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I'll be down to see you. You call me and come by the house with me next time you call. You tell Miss Bill I need to talk to her.
Hey, sis.
I'll be glad to see you.
Okay, but you know what? Following Gary, I haven't heard anybody say, certainly they miss him, but they're all so happy to have you in the neighborhood and in the school. Sailor Park's coming. I held him extra long.
Good job.
There they are, incoming class. Yeah, get them in. All right. Thank you all very much. We now move to our announcements, kudos, retirement, and then eventually hearing of the public. Mr. Nelms, do you or board members have kudos? I know I've got one at the end.
Yeah, thank you for the kudos, Pat and Phyllis. I have kudos to Withrow University High School and Frederick Douglass Elementary School for being among 33 schools from the U.S. and Ireland for being recognized by College for Every Student and receiving the School of Distinction banner. The organization recognizes schools that successfully implement leadership through service, mentoring, and pathways to college. This is the fourth time that Withrow has earned the designation. College for Every Student is an international organization that helps underserved students attend and complete college. So kudos to Withrow and Frederick Douglass.
All right, congratulations. And who else has kudos? Mr. Manera?
We got kudos to Western Hills High School senior Madison Owens and Withrow University High School seniors. I'm going to try this name. I apologize, my accent. El Shaddai Ali and Stanley Williams for being selected and honored by the Reaching for the Future program as the 2015 Leaders for the Future. The students were selected as exceptional emerging leaders that exemplify excellence in character, service, leadership, and achievements. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Mr. Coons?
Kudos to Walnut Hills High School, rising to the highest student, Jules Chappard, an exchange student from France. Neilani Robinson and Kellen Robinson, members of the Chatterbox Club, and Celeste Kearney, editor-in-chief of the school newspaper. The kudos is for traveling to Ferguson to get a first-hand account of the situation regarding the police shooting of an unarmed man, Michael Brown. Truly a bold mission, and we appreciate what they're doing.
Fantastic. Kudos to the following students who have been named semifinalists in the 2015 National Merit Scholarship Program. From Schroeder High School, Gabrielle Iverson, and from the Walnut Hills High School, the following students. Elisha Aaron, Claire Bowman, Zoe Chang, Thomas Clifford, Mark Dovich, Jake Friedman, Kyle Gioli, Sophia Goodman, Olivia Grondin, Emma Hattemaker, that's Emma Hattemer, Michaela Height, Benjamin Mansfield, Robert Perry, Joseph Rabe, Jeffrey Schwaller, Amanda Sequiria, Joel Strom, Will Tokelvey, Maxwell Weiskeitel, Daniel Yokelis. The semifinals enter the competition by taking the 2013 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. They will be eligible for one of the 2,500 National Merit $2,500 scholarships. Great work, students.
I want to take a little credit. I knew Benjamin Mansfield as a 3-year-old at Mercy Montessori, and I led his after-school affairs, so.
Now, is that cause and effect, or is that correlation?
Definitely the latter.
That's great. Very good work.
Okay, good.
I can take just a moment, if it's all right, as one kudo. It's really in memory of one of the great living Cincinnatians who has since passed, and also, how shall I say it, one of the very great Walnut Hills graduates, certainly in this last century, and that is that we are sorry about the passing of William Friedlander. He's a great living Cincinnatian, big-hearted philanthropist, past chairman emeritus of Bartlett and Company, a lover of classical music. Matter of fact, we may not have a Cincinnati Symphony without Bill and Sue Friedlander. And he passed away on September 10th. Always very supportive of Walnut Hills. Matter of fact, the last time I saw Mr. Friedlander, it was at the Hall of Fame induction because of the Walnut Hills grads that were being inducted, and I I'm glad I had that moment. Mr. Friedlander, to name a few, fund drives for United Way, the Fine Arts Fund, now Arts Wave, sponsored the aerial string quartet to the Mercantile Library downtown, and served on the board of the American Red Cross, as well as president of Jewish Hospital. He met his wife, Susan, at Walnut Hills, and indeed, they were a great couple, had great kids, and I was fortunate enough to teach all three of their children, but most particularly, also Mr. Friedlander served on the Wyoming City School Board for a number of years, and frankly is, for me, one of the models as to the kind of board leadership that we all try to strive for, and appreciate his service to the city, and I think he's being memorialized at Music Hall tomorrow. But again, Walnut Hills and Cincinnati, producing a great Cincinnatian. So thank you for letting me have an opportunity to thank him and remember him. And now we go to Mrs. Bates for retirements.
Yes, and we have 3 employees who are retiring. Patricia Nyheisel, paraprofessional, Margaret Joyce, manager, Class 1C, and Mary Spain, custodian 2. So we congratulate them on this hallmark of their lives and thank them for the service they gave to our children.
Absolutely, thank you. It's now the portion of the meeting to go to hearing from the public, but we have no one submitted to be heard, so we'll move on then to the resolutions, and the resolutions will go first to Mrs. Copeland Dansby. You have a resolution for board consideration.
I do. I have a resolution amending the audit committee charter, and I present it as written.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Bates. Any discussion or comments?
I would just like to mention that there are minor changes in the policies that were distributed to you. They, were mostly semantic, we used acronyms, we expanded the acronyms. They're things of that nature, nothing terribly significant. So you do have the final copies, but we did make some changes in policy.
Great. And this came from the Finance Committee as a result of the board discussion prior to the Finance Committee?
Right.
Okay.
And then to policy, so it's been examined by 2 committees.
Great, thank you. All right, roll call?
Mrs. Bates?
Aye.
Mrs. Copeland Dansby?
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Aye.
Mr. Coons?
Aye.
Mr. Manera?
Aye.
Mr. Nelms?
Aye.
President Bolton?
Aye, thank you. Ms. Bates, please present the resolution for board consideration that you have.
Yes, I have a resolution appointing and reappointing audit committee members, and I present the resolution as printed for adoption.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Nelms. Any discussion?
I would like to say
Yes,
that.
please.
We had decided as a board and as Finance Committee and Policy Committee members to expand the number of people who can serve on the Audit Committee because we had really an outpouring of interest. We had five people who could serve, and we had 3 additional people who wanted to serve, and rather than turn away very capable people who are interested in helping our district, we decided to change our charter to include them.
Thank you.
To that end, we got to see their resumes, but nothing more. I'm curious from the folks who had a chance to talk with them. We'd love to hear a little about their diversity of thought that they're bringing to this, their diversity of background, experience.
Yeah, we invited these new members to an audit committee meeting a month or so ago where they had an opportunity to take in the business of the day, that particular day. Each person then gave us some background about what they do civically, and I was really impressed that lots of them serve in various capacities throughout the community. A lot of them are very busy and in fantastic roles within their own organizations, but felt very compelled to serve in this capacity. So I think they're knowledgeable, and then I also found them to be very giving with their time civically. And we did learn a little bit about their families. And, you know, in fact, one gentleman, and I don't remember which of the four who are listed, talked about how he's so happy that he doesn't have to travel as much as he used to. He's really grounded in Cincinnati and Hamilton County, and he really wanted to find a place to give back. So I think with the changes in the policy for the charter, bringing these folks on, and you'll see that they have staggered terms, I think we as an audit committee are in really good fashion moving forward into the new year.
And it doesn't look like any of the people listed here are women. Do we have any women on the audit committee, or any reason why it's not as diverse that way?
And I think that
They are.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying of
we
the.
both looked at each other like, we're there.
Of the
And
community
our
members.
there, Saunders there.
Right, but of the
yeah,
community
so-
members,
yeah,
we don't have
no,
any women's voices.
I completely agree with you, and I think at one point we talked about that diverse makeup. Since I've only been a member for the past 9 months, it was important for me to bring folks on who had gone through this pipeline of interest and had already been engaged, and we will absolutely revisit some diversity in that area, not only in the area with male-female, but also with race, with regards to race and diversity as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But I think we've got a really great group. I will speak on behalf of them.
Yeah, and our current members are Ryan Belt and Jim Crossett and David Foote and Brian Ross, who is our chair. I guess David Foote's being reappointed, and then the new members were in the your packets, which was Daniel Holthouse and Jeffrey Orshell, Tom Heldman, and Calvin Maxton. Very excited to have this kind of expertise be with us and help us through.
So, Lisa, to your point, I'm glad that I don't back down when there's a room full of men. So, and I don't think that our other ladies do as well either. But thank you for bringing that up.
I think we have roll call.
Mrs. Bates.
Aye.
Mrs. Copeland Dansby.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman. Mr. Coons.
Aye.
Mr. Manera.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Bolton.
Aye. Mrs. Bates, would you please present your resolution for board consideration?
Yes, I have a resolution amending the internal audit charter, and I present this as printed for adoption.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Coons. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Bates.
Aye.
Mrs. Copeland Dansby.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Coons.
Aye.
Mr. Manera.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Yes.
President Bolton.
Aye. Mr. Nelms, would you present your resolution for board consideration?
Gladly, I have a resolution for board consideration, policy 6835, audit committee, and 6836, internal auditor, and I present as written.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Coons. Discussion, questions? Mr. Coons.
I do think we should kind of summarize, for the good of the public, what has changed with these two particular policies. And I would trust someone who is more involved to do that, but
Mrs.
we
Bates.
changed the report of the auditor.
The report of the internal auditor, and is this the audit committee membership piece?
Yeah. So again, and Board Member Bates, you might want to chime in with me, but Board Member Coons, these two policies reflect changes to allow us to bring those members in, to bring those new members into the audit committee, and then also to change the reporting structure of our internal auditor. So the internal auditor now reports directly to the Board of Education. And I do agree with that. That needed to be spelled out.
It had been, the
position had been reporting to the treasurer.
Administratively.
Administratively.
And she reports as well to the audit committee, as
Into
you
the
pointed out
committee,
before.
correct. And you'll see those changes with some regards to the strikeouts and that, but that was the interest in changing the policy.
Thank you for expounding on that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Bates.
Aye.
Mrs. Copeland Dansby.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman. Mr. Coons.
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Bolton.
Aye, thank you. Mrs. Hoffman, would you please present your resolution?
Yes, I submit resolution amending board policy 7450 property inventory and 7455 accounting system for fixed assets as written.
Second.
Thank you. We have second. Any questions, comments? I only want to say that all of these are coming forward from review in the Finance Committee, in part because of the process that Member Bates established some time ago, that we have a regular review of all board policies in an organized way. So thanks to the Finance Committee and the Policy Committee. Any questions about it? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Bates.
Aye.
Mrs. Copeland Dancy.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Coons.
Aye.
Mr. Manera.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Bolton.
Aye. Superintendent Ronan, do you have a report?
Yes, I do. I wanted to mention that obviously President Bolton, Brenda Weimer, our bond counsel, Jonathan Boyd, and I did go to New York last Friday, and we met with Standards & Poor's in the morning and Moody's in the afternoon in hopes of getting a bond rating upgrade with S&P, because a year or two ago, we were downgraded due to our connection with the city of Cincinnati, and when the city was downgraded, we were attached. So it was an attempt to establish our own identity separate from that of the city, in hopes that S&P would move us back up a grade and that we would maintain our rating with Moody's. And our understanding is the meeting went very well, and we should know within the next several weeks as to whether that has occurred.
And I want to thank the treasurer for even suggesting through Mr. Conley that the superintendent and the board president and wonderful Brenda Weimers be there to help in that process. I think it's extremely helpful for us to even have had the preparation that the
Yes,
treasurer
thank you for those
prepared.
materials, Treasurer Witt.
And that preparation, I think, also speaks to what Mrs. Hoffman was talking about at the committee of the whole, about what is our narrative, what is our story, what is our message, because in order to do those presentations, you really have to start to craft it, and hopefully the board's had some time to start to review some of those pages that were part of the presentation, and the treasurer got us ready, and Mr. Conley certainly rehearsed us enough to get ready, and it was a good experience, and nobody is more measured and articulate and direct than Brenda Weimers when asked an incredibly, what I think is a convoluted question, which you fully understand, and they never had to ask her anything a second time. And that's pretty remarkable in the kind of high-tech stuff she was being asked. So thanks to the whole finance team that put that together. And again, to the treasurer, I'm so sorry the treasurer was not able to be there with us. And we want to thank, I know she wants to thank former Treasurer Boyd for stepping in, but it was her idea to begin with as to who should go and what should be done. So I think let's hope that it's fully successful. Please.
I did speak with Jonathan Boyd actually this morning, and did thank him in my absence for standing in. I will be also speaking with S&P and Moody's this week because they do want to speak to the seated treasurer. So I will have a conference call with them this week. And as you indicated, Mr. Conley indicated that you guys just did a terrific job. And thanks to all who went. Brenda, thank you so much. And hopefully we can get those ratings where we need them to be. So thank you so much.
And thank you for your prep and your insistence in suggesting that we go. It was a very good experience. Do I have a motion to approve the revised recommendations of the superintendent? All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Fast. Any questions? The Walnut Hills. I get to say swoop, she gets to say the Walnut Hills. Any questions for the superintendent regarding these recommendations? Roll call.
Mrs. Bates. Aye. Mrs. Copeland Dancy.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Coons. Aye. Mr. Manera.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Bolton.
Aye. Do I have a motion to approve the revised report of the treasurer?
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Mr. Coons. Is there any discussion, questions? explanations needed. Roll call.
Mrs. Bates. Aye. Mrs. Copeland Dancy.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman. Mr. Coons.
Aye.
Mr. Manera.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Bolton.
Aye. We go now to inquiries and updates, and I believe Mr. Nelms has something to kind of put on our agenda.
Yeah, I wanted to say, first of all, thank you, board members, for allowing me to go to D.C. to sit in on a conference that's centered around our boys of color. And so as some of you prepare to go to the Council for Great City Schools conference, that there would probably be a segment set aside, because the focus the last 3 or 4 years have been on males of color, but there'll probably be a convening of school board reps from around the country, and I want you to just pay particular attention to that as you go. And I don't know who's going. I think Board Member Hoffman, I just saw that you're going to be attending, and I think Board Member Bates and
Yeah, and I'm actually assigned to the 2 days that are specific to the male.
Excellent, excellent. And so as you prepare, just enjoy that experience, because you'll get to meet board members from around the country that have the same passion for the work that we're doing here. And then just be prepared to come back and just share that information. And that's why I put it out. Thank you.
And just two things on the near future, on the horizon. We've already started to discuss both of these, but I would imagine they'll be approaching decision points sooner or later, and that is the MedPace and John P. Parker School, and we got that pretty well assigned as to who's supposed to be doing what, but that has some presence. And also, it's my understanding that the Carpe Diem folks are also interested in a soon-to-be announced date to see about board support in a more formalized way.
Yes, in October.
Okay. So that is on our agenda as
Yeah,
well. And we need to be thinking in terms of having some discussion about that.
Yeah, related to Carpe Diem, I think it would be essential for us to have a follow-up conversation from our last fact finding. There were some specifics, and Board Member Hoffman can speak to her portion, but we particularly asked for updates on middle school test scores, attendance, and their intent related to school leadership. Those were some ideas or some items that, and she's checking off.
The 3 checks. Yes.
Yeah, those are things that we'd like to hear back. And so I'm advocating to not have a date on the agenda for approval until we get a little bit better information.
That's why I mentioned it today.
And you can see it in an email, actually, Board Member Hoffman
Right.
sent.
And so if we can, we'll slide, unless there's any other inquiries or updates, we could slide into the assignments.
I have a couple. Oh, assignments.
Assignments, yeah. So maybe if the superintendent was able to jot those 3 things down.
Yeah.
To update the Carpe Diem folks as to what we would still be expecting prior to approval, that would allow us to have some more informed discussion.
Sure. Before we move into the assignments, though, just as an update, I wanted to update the community that there is a community conversation being held at Aiken High School this coming Wednesday on the 23rd. These are activities that are spawning out of our PPE committee. No, tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. I'll be there. It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's on my calendar.
Yeah.
But at Aiken High School, and we're going to actually talk about new graduation rates and how this particular freshman class is affected by new. I'm so distracted. Affected by the new graduation requirements, as well as the importance of dual enrollment in AP courses. And so the community should know that. There's been some really great, and is there anyone from Public Affairs here? Because I got the robocall.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
And an email.
I think it was Rolanda's voice on the robocall. We're talking about community conversation, yeah. So a great job in informing the community about what's happening with our community conversations, and we can look to have more of those as we move into the future. So that's all I had before we get to assignments.
Is it at 6 o'clock start?
I have a 6 o'clock start on Tuesday, the 23rd. That is correct.
Yeah.
Sorry about the mistake.
No problem. It's great. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. All right, we then move on to assignments. We've given one assignment to the superintendent, and she waits with bated breath for any future ones. Assignments.
Yes.
Mrs. Bates.
And I have an assignment that came out of the policy committee, and that is an assignment to the full board to discuss the possibility of some capital expansion of programs in demand and in areas of our community that require additional seats.
Good.
I don't understand.
So if we can handle that at a committee of the whole.
I don't understand. Say that again now.
We have now engaged in open enrollment. We're also coming up on magnet school enrollment. There's a demand for seats in certain schools. We have 42 schools with open enrollment students.
I got you.
Loud and clear.
We
wanted to be at the place. We said during the facilities master plan that if there was a demand, that would be a good problem. And I think that's the problem we need to address. We're having a good problem.
Okay.
I think relatively easy assignment, but we want to get our, whatever we're calling it, the bulletin board going. But I think in order, I like that. Alex is like, yes, I made that up. In order to get that going, we need our board Gmail accounts. And I think we got those back before we were even sworn in. We had a information session about that. So if we could just have the tech team, or technology, someone from technology, get us all our Google logins.
Do we need to get them to you, or?
No, I think we need everybody needs it sent to themselves, and then I can actually upload the doc to,
That's what I mean.
to
So
Google
you can
Docs.
upload the document
Yep,
to
and
those
then
addresses,
if everyone has their login, we can all log into it.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, related to the digital bulletin board, I have gone in and manipulated it, and I think it works very well in putting assignments and things that require follow-up. It makes it extremely easy for any one of us to go in and take a look at them, look at those assignments. So I'm advocating that we move faster rather than later. As
soon as we have those logins.
That process.
Great.
If you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you, especially board member Nams, to go and take a look at it.
We'll go for coffee and we'll show you.
Yeah. No, I can do it.
You can. It's
I'm
really
literate.
I know you can.
I'm just resisting.
I know, right?
Yeah, but because you're urging me, I'm going to do it.
I know, right?
All right.
The only other thing I had, this nice picture that we took of our principals here tonight, if someone from Public Affairs can take that picture and write a quick press release, I think it looks really good in the Herald and other newspapers that are pertinent to our community, where our families read these newspapers. I would love to see my child's new principal in the news article in that. So I'm advocating for sending that out to whichever outlets are most appropriate.
That's good.
Any other assignments? Seeing no other assignments, we will recess into executive session.
I wanted to say, take one
for the purpose of, for the purpose of
the appointments.
Employment of a public employee.
I move that we recess into executive session to consider the employment of a public employee.
Thank you. Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.